you have any questions, and we'll open up to Q&A at the end, so that way you guys have a chance to ask any questions that you might have. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to keep this in non-presentation mode, so that way I can see the screen and see everything at the same time. So welcome everybody to our 2020 summer season. We're very excited to get started this season and to get back to sports, get back on the field, back to playing and having some fun again. We've been biting our nails and waiting for this day to come. So we are very close, and hopefully everything continues to move in the right direction and we can have a great season. So my name is Isaiah Rojas. I am the owner and executive director of I9 Sports in Frisco, Plano, and Prosper. I have some of our staff on the call with us, as well as our special guest, John Hyde, who's going to be talking to us from Scottish Rite for children. They are our sponsor for our summer and fall season. So we'll give them an opportunity to say a few words. So normally every season we do a parent webinar that we go over some of these details with everybody. And we try to keep it pretty short, about 10, 15 minutes. And then on game day, we'll have a big parent huddle with everybody as they come in, and we'll go over more details on site. This season, because of what's going on, we're going to try to limit the big group talks and the big group huddling. So that's why we're doing this live Google Hangouts meeting instead. So we're going to go over a little bit more information than we typically do in these webinars, and hopefully answer any questions that you guys have and get you guys ready for the season. We're going to finish off with going into some of our safety protocols as well. But if you have any questions about anything that we go over today so far, feel free to chat in a question, or you can unmute yourself at the very end, and we'll give you guys a chance to ask some questions. John is unfortunately not going to stick with us throughout the entire presentation. So if you have a question related to something that he brings up or something related to our safety protocols, feel free to just send me an email, and I can pass it over to John. He's been gracious enough to answer some emails from us after the presentation is done. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So before we get to John, I want to touch on a few things. So as I9 Sports, for those of you who are new to our programs, or those of you who have been with us for a while, we welcome you guys back. But our values as a league is to provide a fun, safe, instructional, inclusive, and sportsmanship-based sports program. We want the kids to enjoy themselves. We want the kids on the baseball field to learn how to catch, how to throw, how to hit the ball, which direction to run the bases. But most importantly, we want them to have fun every step of the way while they're learning these different skills and techniques. If they're not enjoying the process of learning and playing, their experience within sports isn't going to last very long. So our focus is on making sure that the entire process of learning and competing and playing, the fun is our #1 priority. So we focus on that a lot. Each and every week we emphasize a different sportsmanship trait. So we'll talk a lot about sportsmanship, and your kids and your coaches will help us out in getting those sportsmanship traits taught to our kids. And at the end of each game, a player or two will be rewarded a sportsmanship award for showing sportsmanship that day. So we'll show you guys a little bit what that looks like. But as adults that are going to be running this league and a part of this league, we all have a role to make sure that we fill our values of providing a fun, safe, instructional, inclusive, and sportsmanship-based program. So you can see there, for parents, we want them to support all kids using encouraging and positive words and actions. Our coaches are there to teach sportsmanship by being fun, supportive, and positive role models. And our staff will be there to promote fair play through a safe, organized, and fun environment. So if we all fulfill our roles, we all do our job, our kids are going to have a lot of fun, they're going to have a lot of great memories, and they'll want to do it again, hopefully, many more times. So I wanted to touch on that before we introduce John. John is our community liaison and athletic trainer from the Scottish Rite for Children in Frisco. They are our sponsors for the fall and summer season, so you'll see their logo on our jerseys. So John, if you want to go ahead and I'll unmute you, and then well, actually you got to unmute yourself, and then you can go ahead and talk a little bit about what you wanted to share with us.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and good evening. So my name's John Hyde. I'm an athletic trainer with Scottish Rite for Children, as Isaiah said. I manage a team of athletic trainers who cover, events in the Metroplex, and it's important for us to stay on top of what the community is doing, what the Metroplex is doing, especially when it comes to returning to what we'll call it the new normal, right? We've heard that plenty of times. So I'll try not to use the typical COVID language. I'll try to stay around even using that word. Or that's an acronym. All right. So, I appreciate letting me join today. And I think the goal today is to try and provide some helpful tips as we all try to figure out how to safely return to sports and this new normal, and we hopefully you guys can find some nuggets or pearls out of this. So a quick chat here. So I'll only spend a few minutes. I think it's just the biggest thing here too is, we're trying to mitigate, slow the spread of COVID-19, right? So I think we're all trying to do this the best we can, and it's just important that we continue to follow these guidelines and rely on the experts, such as the CDC and state and local guidelines and mandates and things. And so I think it's, that's the best place to start. And I-9 has, and Isaiah and I chatted a little bit earlier today, developed a safety plan you guys are going to go over today. And I think it's just so important that we continue to, sounds silly, but, and I hate to, sit here and say, follow the rules, but, it's important that we do that. And so the Scottish Rite, we're not the experts on COVID by any means. We are pediatric orthopedic hospital or facility, I should say, clinic. We don't take care of kids with COVID, so we don't claim to be the experts there. We're the leaders in in preventing, researching, and treating pediatric orthopedic conditions. And so we've never been here before, right? And I think it's just important to note that even the experts, right, the CDC, the people who are telling us what to do, haven't been here before either. And so we're all doing the best we can. I think just keeping that in mind, whether we sit on one side of the spectrum of what can be polarizing at times, when to wear a mask, when, how to wear them, whatever, right? And so I think just making sure that we're continuing to play by the rules as we're encouraging and telling our kids to do the same, right? To play their sports by the rules or whatever. And so I think it's just important to keep that in mind. So here are the things that we'll make it easy. Let's do a top three. Everyone loves lists, right? So coming up with some of these things on the top of my head here, but here's the things that pediatric orthopedic experts are concerned about. So we did a we'll do three. So we agree that activity is important for kids, right? For both physical and mental well-being, right? So I think that's one thing important to remember. I'll talk about a little survey we did, actually, that a lot of your kids, I think, maybe took part in. I appreciate that. Two, PPE, so not personal protective equipment, but pre-participation physicals. Making sure we get those done. I'll talk a little bit about that, and then finally, and probably maybe the most important, is especially to talk about outdoor summer in Texas, heat-related illnesses, and making sure we're on top of that and prepared for that. So real quickly, number one, I think we all would agree that activity is important for mental and physical well-being for kids. And I think it's, as I alluded to earlier, not many kids and families have ever taken 4 months off between sports, right? And this is a new territory. I think one of the biggest things is just gradually, especially for the coaches out there, but parents as well, gradually returning to sports and activities. And Isaiah, you mentioned a little bit, you can start, very basic things, running bases, we're doing, but making sure we're doing all this stuff gradually and these activities gradually, especially when being outdoors. And so, so anecdotally, at least, we're seeing a rise in injuries right now. Kids are getting back to sports and they're getting hurt. And now this is a little bit more anecdotally than anything else, but this has been a concern as just the general medical sports medicine community, is trying to figure out, hey, what is this going to look like? Kids are taking time off, which is good, but what does it look like? So we took some of the results from the study that a lot of your kids actually participated in. We found that, after getting results from nearly 600 kids, early specialization, right, playing only one sport too early, we encourage that to not really happen until high school, has been shown to increase injury, right? So early specialization, we know that, it increases your injury risk and burnout rates. But we now have another reason, right, to keep kids playing multiple sports, a little longer. And so it's in a study of nearly 600 kids, half of them admitted to only playing one sport. And we found these athletes most vulnerable, for removal, whether it's injuries or burnout. So, while we do preach sports sampling and not specializing, and I-9 is a great example, several sports, right? Try them all out. But also time off each year. We'll never preach sedentary lifestyle. And so I think over the last 4 months, some kids, maybe this was beneficial and they did some cross training and did some other activities that maybe help them in their primary sport, if you want to call it that. And maybe some others spend a lot of time doing nothing. And I think there's good and bad, but the nothing category, that can be real dangerous to get back into sports, especially. And I think this weekend we're supposed to get triple digits. So just keeping that in mind. So let's see, we'll move on from that. So that study came out, it found some good stuff. We have some more additional results and things we can share, and Isaiah may share, socially or different things with as far as data and things that we found. Just continue to monitor that. So moving on, number 2, PPE. So again, not personal protective equipment. We hear this a lot, but in the medical community, we call this pre-participation physical or sports physical. A lot of schools and organizations require this stuff annually, or at least every other year. UIL requires it, every other year, I think, to start middle school. But taking it seriously, making sure that you're not waiting to the last minute to get that done. Making sure you're discussing things with your kids before the physical, making sure you're talking about, whether it be, eating habits, desires to gain and lose weight, some of those mental aspects too, changes in sleep, mood, interest, things, bring these things up with your provider. And we definitely recommend going to your pediatrician and not some of these maybe trendy things over the last 10 years or so, doing these mass physicals and things. Take time with the pediatrician. That's super important. And then finally, 3, I'll end on this one, heat-related illnesses. I think just making sure you're aware of the signs and symptoms of that. Weakness, vomiting, headaches, fatigue, nausea, lightheadedness. These things are signs of heat-related illnesses, which can be very detrimental, dangerous. And so making sure you're being we're being prepared and we're preparing ourselves. Not to train in the heat while you're sick is probably relevant today. Making sure that you're following the guidelines I-9's put in place. Making sure you're not going out there with a fever, because that's gonna make things worse and fatal. So making sure preparing ice and water before training sessions, drinking a lot the day before, limiting consumption of caffeinated or sugary beverages. Those are all good things. I'm trying to think of anything else there, but I'm just being prepared to if it's really hot outside, just shortening practice times, having a cooling station, whether it's a little ice bath or a way to cool kids down quickly, in an emergency. So, keeping those things in mind. If you have any questions about any of the things I just rattled off today, or other questions, feel free, again, as Isaiah alluded to, just reach out to him, and I'm happy to answer some questions. And if I can help out in any way, I'm happy to.
All right, I appreciate it, John. Thank you for your time again. And again, if anyone has questions about anything John said or anything related to our safety guidelines that they helped us with, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to get you guys going on that. So let's jump into some of the details in regards to the upcoming season. So a couple notes as we get into the season coming up this weekend. Our coaches meeting is going to again be a virtual meeting that we have on Wednesday, the 8th at 6 p.m. So all of our volunteer coaches and volunteer parent helpers are asked to join us for that meeting. We want to make sure that we have as many, if not all, coaches attending that meeting. The league locations, so we have 3 different locations this season: Shawnee Trail Sports Complex in Frisco, Reynolds Middle School in Prosper, and Old Shepherd Park in Plano. I wanted to spend a few minutes on this, our rain out procedure. We got a lot of heavy rain this morning, like you guys saw, so I want to make sure you guys are aware of what we do here. So that phone number is a rain out hotline. I would recommend saving it and putting it in your phone. And what we do is, this is a recorded message line. So each and every morning, about an hour to an hour and a half before our games start, we update the hotline, letting everyone know, hey, games are on today, looking to have a great day, or hey, right now it's going to be raining, please stay updated on the hotline. but we update the hotline an hour before and then as needed thereafter. So if at 8 a.m. your game goes great, but at 10 o'clock we got rain coming in, we'll update that hotline and let everyone know. If games are canceled due to weather, we update the hotline, we email every parent, we update the website, and then we call all of our coaches that way they're aware of it as well. So those are the 4 things that we do rainouts wise. If there's a little bit of rain, especially right now in the summertime, and it's not cold, most likely we'll play. But obviously, if we got the combination of rain and thunder and lightning, that's when we'll be canceling games for the day or for the hour. At the very minimum, if we have lightning strike within 7 miles, which we get alerted to, then we have to stop for at least 30 minutes. We might pull everybody off the field. Usually with an hour-long session, that might end up being the entire time, because usually a strike will come up a few minutes after, but that's something we'll keep you guys updated on. As far as equipment needed for the season, typically we provide every single piece of equipment for our teams except for a glove. The only thing we tell players is bring a glove. This season, what we're doing is we're asking that if possible, we do recommend you bring your own equipment. So for baseball bats, 24 to 26 ounce, you want to look for a T-ball label on that bat. If you want to get a helmet of your own, that's recommended as well. But the piece of equipment that's required are cleats or athletic shoes, shorts or baseball pants. They don't have to have baseball pants if they don't want to. Shorts are fine. A baseball glove, like I said, is required, and a water bottle. Make sure you have that. And then again, if you want to bring your own baseball bat and helmet, but we'll provide baseball bats, helmets, bases, balls, tees for the kids that will be cleaning before and after each session. On opening day, we also provide the reversible jersey and hat. So just like you see this little guy here cheering, he has a reversible jersey. This one here is blue and white. The inside is white. But the ones that we have are a combination of red and black and blue and neon green. And then we'll have hats provided for you guys as well. So again, those will be passed out on game day. But any other equipment, you want to make sure that you are preparing us and bringing your own. If you want to look for a place to purchase equipment, Play It Again Sports and Replay Sports are 2 used goods sports stores that you can get a glove for $3. You can get a bat for $7. You can get a ball for $1, a tee for $10. I mean, you can get stuff for really cheap. Helmets for $5, $6. So if you want to look for something like that, cleats for a couple dollars, there's a great places to find something, especially for our young kids. They're going to grow out of that cleats in probably the end of the season. So no need to go into Dick's and spending $20 on a pair of Nikes that they won't be able to wear, in the fall maybe. So there's a notes on our equipment. As far as what to expect opening day, like I mentioned before, we're not going to have a team meeting. So when you arrive to the tents, and I'll show you the field layout in a little while, our site manager will be directing you to your field. And so they'll let you know, hey, what sport are you with? I'm with baseball, head this direction. When you get to the baseball field, we'll have a staff person there trying to figure out what team you're with, and he'll have a roster with him. So he'll, if you don't know what team you're with by that chance, you just, hey, I'm with, my name is Adam Zimmerman. He'll look up your name and you're on this team, and he'll split you up and put you in your group. And that way, at that point, the kids will go with their team, with their coaches. They'll start passing out jerseys and hats right away. They'll start introducing themselves, and they'll just go straight to their field and to their team. Parents, if they're okay going to their team by themselves and you guys can go to the sidelines, we recommend that. I know at this age group that we have some kids that have a hard time leaving mom and dad's side for the first time. A lot of new kids. They haven't been around people for a long time. They might be a little more shy than normal. So if you need to stay with them, that's fine. But we're trying to limit, again, the amount of people that we have grouped together and stuff. So if that's the case, you can kind of be in the background a little bit further away with the team. But we'll try to get the kids to go with the team and be able to have their team meeting and pass out the jerseys. So during that team meeting, the coaches will introduce themselves real quick. The staff will as well, and they'll pass out their jerseys and hats. If there's a jersey or hat that, if there's a jersey that doesn't fit correctly, please let the staff person that's there on site know about it, and he'll get the jersey. He'll go to the tent. He'll get your correct size, and he'll bring it back to you guys. That way, again, we're not getting lines of people at the tent, and we're not getting people huddled up there. We'll go back and forth and transport that stuff for you guys if we need to exchange a jersey or we're missing a hat or whatever the case might be. Once that team meeting is done, all the kids are there, the jerseys are all fitted on. On your schedule, it'll tell you what color jersey you're wearing that day. You're wearing the red side, you're wearing the blue side, and then that way you can make sure that the kids put on the correct colors. But once those jerseys are on, then they'll go ahead and start their first practice. For baseball, we have 2 fields set up, a practice field and a game field. And so again, the coordinator will direct you which field to go to when you guys get there. But once you guys get all your uniforms set up and ready to go, the equipment's going to be on the field for you, bats, balls, and helmets, and tees and bases to start your practice right away. So if you start a little bit ahead of time, that's great. But we'll jump right into the practice as soon as that's done. At that point, our staff will be making rounds, checking in with their coaches, checking in with the parents and players, and then they'll let you guys know when it's time to get ready for the baseball game. At that point, we'll tell the team that's on the practice field, hey guys, 3 more minutes, we're gonna walk over and get the game started. Make sure the kids are ready. Let the people know who's batting first, who's on defense first, and we'll jump right into our scrimmage game, which our coaches and our staff will help lead. Some parent reminders: please arrive 5 minutes early and come dressed to play. I've had situations where parents come with their kids like in pajamas, thinking that it's just to pick up the jersey or something. They're going to play that day, so come ready to play. We are asking that, if possible, to limit spectators to immediate family. That way it's not grandmas and grandpas and uncles and aunts, and there's bigger and bigger crowds. We know that grandmas and grandpas and uncles and aunts want to see their kids play and they want to be there, but just for this season and what's going on, if we can limit the number of spectators, we would appreciate that. We will have designated areas to maintain social distancing for each team. Do not come again if someone is in the house is sick, and please follow the state executive order regards to face masks that was just passed. League format. So we have 2 divisions, our T-ball and our coach pitch. Both are instructional programs. So teams will be coached and led by our parent coaches and supported by our on-field sports coordinators. So there's going to be 1 staff coordinator on every field to ensure that the level of coaching and instruction and the practice is organized and well done. That way the kids get a good experience. So we can break things up into stations if we want to, if that's preferred by the coaches, or we can allow the coaches to run their own practices. But coaches will be receiving a practice plan every single week on Wednesday that they can use for their practices. That way they have videos and diagrams and pictures and lots of resources for them to be ready to run a good, well-organized practice. The games are typically about 30 to 35 minutes. We typically try to get at least 2 innings. But this season, since we are limiting the number of kids in the roster, there's potential we'll probably get a lot more games of 3 innings. So every player hits and every player plays the fields on offense and defense. On the 4U division, we hit off the tee. In the 6U division, we do coach pitch. If you have a 4-year-old that's a little baseball stud and he wants to do coach pitch after the 2nd or 3rd week, let the coach know, hey, my son has been practicing. We would like him to do coach pitch, and coach can do that, or the staff can do that. And again, if you have a 6-year-old who's never played before, this is the first time playing, and you would rather him start off on the tee, that way he builds up his confidence, let the coach know, let the staff know, hey, for my son, can we have him hit off the tee? And kind of build up his way to, hopefully by the end of the season, doing coach pitch. So we can definitely help you guys out with that. And this is a real quick sample of what this typical day would look like. When you guys get to the field, you head straight to your field. Coaches will check in at the I-9 Sports Tent to get their sportsmanship medal that they'll pass out to the kids. Again, we'll have a practice and game. We're not going to be doing high five lines or parent tunnels or snacks this season. Those are 3 of the things that we're not doing as part of our new safety protocol. So again, instead, we'll have the teams line up across from each other and do clapping lines for each other. And then they'll turn to the parents and clap for the parents for being there to bring them out to the game. So we'll do that instead. After that is done, the coaches will do their quick little wrap-up meeting. They'll hand out their sportsmanship award. And parents, if you would like to pick up a sportsmanship award winner sign just like this, we'll have them at the field where you can take a picture with them. Or if you want to take it home and post it in the front yard and brag to all your neighbors, you can do that as well. And then just bring it back the next week for us to clean and get ready for the next parent who might want to do that. So we always have those on the field ready for you guys. All right, a couple of resources I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. Before I get to that, one thing that I did want to mention is right now our season is set to finish on August 16th. If we do have any rainouts throughout the season, we'll basically be pushing the season back a week to the 23rd or the 30th. So those days may be game days if we do have a cancellation due to weather or anything else. So be aware of that. Again, if you have not yet, everyone has access to an i9sports.com account. So if you log onto the website, which looks different than this now because we just redid our website, but you have the login and with your email address and password right here on top. Under the My Account tab, you'll see My Schedule and all your information. If you're a coach, you can see your roster, your schedule, and all the coach resources. But this is a great way to get all the information that you need every single week. Again, we don't have snack sign up again, but you can see your schedule, update your game attendance, let the coach know if you're going to make it there that week or not, communicate with the office or your coach, and it's accessible anywhere you can log onto the internet. Just kind of give you an example of what that looks like. This is an example of a football schedule, but it's the exact same format for baseball. You'll see the dates, the arrival time. So you'll see an arrival time of 8 a.m., for example, and a game time of 8:30. Who you're playing against, what directions to the field, what field you're on, what color, who your opponent is, what color jersey you're wearing that day. And again, we won't have to worry about snacks this season. So this is very detailed with everything that you need to know. And the website is always the most up-to-date resource. So if you get an email from me that says you're there at 8 p.m. because I typed it in wrong, look at the schedule online. That's always going to be correct. But you'll see program details. Again, the weather hotline is there. Contact your coach, contact your director, print, email your schedules is all there as well as much more. In addition to that, another resource that we have available for you guys is our weekly newsletter, where we send out every Wednesday. So we definitely encourage parents to take pictures and videos, send them over to us. This is a picture of a mom who sent me over a picture of her daughter who won the sportsmanship award that day, and we posted that in our on our newsletter that week to highlight that. This is such a cool moment. But we'll do Coach of the Week nomination. So if you really love your coach, Coach Justin's doing awesome, you guys love him, send us an email and we'll shout him out that week and make sure we give him some recommendations and acknowledgement. There it is. But any sportsmanship, we'll let you guys know what the sportsmanship award is that week. That way you guys can talk to your kids about it during the week. Hey guys, this week we're gonna be talking about sharing. So make sure that we're talking about sharing at home and at classroom. We're gonna do sharing at the field too. Sharing is a big one for T-ball because once that ball gets hit, they all huddle on each other and dogpile each other. So sharing is an important one to learn on baseball especially, but especially in every sport. But any league information, updates to the programs, to the leagues, to the schedules, anything like that, we update on those weekly newsletters. So email is the biggest way that we communicate with you guys. So please be checking your emails at least once a week to make sure you're aware of what's going on. At least before you get to the field on Sunday, open up your phone, check your email, make sure that you're up to date with everything. That way you're ready to go. In addition to that, obviously we will have the on-field staff. Every field will have a site manager at the check-in table who is in charge of operations there at that field. In addition to that, you'll have a sports coordinator who will be on the field specifically for each sport. So in Plano, Jalen is our sports coordinator. In Prosper, Ariel is our sports coordinator. And in Frisco at Shawnee Trail, Frank is our sports coordinator. So you'll see them out there in the I-9 sports staff shirts. So if you guys have any questions, any concerns, anything that you wanted to address with them, make sure you try to find someone in the staff shirt and let us know how we can help you guys out, make sure that the program is going to your standards and we're following all of our protocols and everyone's staying safe and having a good time. All right, so I wanted to kind of show you guys a field layout real quick, just so you're aware of it. I know it's kind of a small picture, but we have each field is kind of the same layout for Prosper and Frisco. So we'll have a practice field and a game field in Prosper, just like we do in Frisco. And then we'll have the multi-sport field, soccer, football. So for example, if you are the visiting team that week and we say that you're gonna be practicing on the practice field, it's going to be on this top field here. So you'll head straight up to the top field. We'll have bats, balls, bases, tees, everything ready for you guys there. But you'll practice with your team on the practice field. If you're the home team that week, you'll practice on the game field. And then when it's time for the game, everybody will come down to the game field area to play their game. So all the games are played on the grass field. That way in Prosper and Frisco, and then they're played on a dirt field in the Plano location. So we'll have, again, all the equipment there ready for you guys when you get in there. And the check-in table is going to be right in the middle. So for Prosper, you'll park in the parking lot here, walk up to the field. We'll direct you to your location. And then if you need anything else, restrooms are over here in Prosper. Same thing in Frisco, parking lot's right there. You'll head straight to your field. The restrooms are in the middle of the softball complex at the Shawnee Trail Sports Complex there. At Old Shepherd's Park, we have a restroom right here next to the, between the two softball fields. So you have everything you need with the check-in table right there close to the field. So if you have any questions, again, concerns, issues, let us know at the check-in table. Find your sports coordinator. but just want to kind of give you a quick layout of what that looks like. And we'll have signs as far as what field is field 1, where teams are supposed to sit, social distancing signs and things like that out there to help direct you. But I just want to kind of show you that quick little layout. All right, so now I wanted to get into the safety protocols real quick. This is going to be a lot of just reading off the details, but I want to make sure we cover this and you guys are aware of what's going on there. So as far as our parents, we ask that you limit the number of spectators, like we said, and attendance that come if possible. Staff and parents and participants will be required to stay at home if they or anyone is sick or in contact with someone that is sick. Parents and players, we have to clean their hands before and after games. We'll provide hand sanitizer at the check-in table if you want to do that. If you have some of your own, that's great. We follow all park requirements by local government. So according to Executive Order GA-29, face coverings are required for anyone over the age of 10. And that includes our staff and coaches. So please help us with that. I know it can be, again, like we mentioned before, kind of a touchy subject sometimes, but we want to be out here. We want to play the entire season. We want to play again in the fall and going forward. So if we can do the little things that have been required of us to make sure that we can continue to play, we definitely would appreciate you guys' support on that. Social distancing measures will be implemented during outdoor activities. Please sit or stand 6 feet apart from each other on the sidelines. And again, no high fives, handshakes, or intentional physical contact with other guests or participants, just again to limit contact there. For our teams, our staff will be disinfecting equipment before and after activities. We do encourage, like I mentioned, for kids to bring their own equipment, but we will have clean equipment there for them to use every single week. So it's not something that is required. We are not doing team pictures this season, again, just because of typically when we do team pictures, you're kind of waiting in line and waiting with a big group and you're kind of waiting for your team pictures to get done. And it's just a little more, just another way for us to kind of limit those kind of things from happening on the field. For coaches, if possible, no team huddles. One thing that we're recommending to coaches is kind of whether use the cones or use the sideline or use the benches to have them kind of line up shoulder to shoulder and then kind of talk to them from there instead of everyone getting into a huddle inside and talking and putting their hands in and for a team cheer or something like that. We can do that in different ways. We have adjusted some of our coach and practice plans to eliminate things that do require sharing of equipment and contact. This doesn't really apply too much to baseball as much as it does to football and soccer, but that is something that we've done as well. Again, no high five lines or handshakes, unnecessary team huddles. We're not doing parent tunnels this season. Again, we're replacing those with clapping lines, and no team snacks or drinks, and no concessions will be sold at the venue. Again, just to kind of limit interactions. On the field, so I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of if something were to happen on the field, whether it's an injury or someone gets sick or something like that, what our plan is. Again, this is something that we did with the Scottish Rite assistants, as well as following the guidelines and looking at the Aspen Project Play Institute with their recommendations for youth sports. So if a child gets injured, the facility will assess to treat if the child with a minor injury. Emergency services obviously will be contacted if something that's major. One big safety protocol that we ask for our parents and coaches is there's a helmet in the hand. If there's a bat in the hand, there's a helmet on the head. No player should be walking around with the bat in their hands if they don't have a helmet. So when they get to the field, lay the bats down with their equipment, and only when we're doing hitting drills should the kids be walking around with a bat. Many times I've seen kids just swing right in groups, not realizing what could happen. I've taken a couple of swings to the legs trying to get in between and trying to block a kid, and they're just unaware of it sometimes. And so help us out with that, especially if you're bringing your own equipment. Let the kids know, make sure they're aware of that. That way we can make sure limit any injuries. Again, like John said, kind of try to watch the heat exhaustion. We're going to be out there early in the morning, 8 o'clock and 9:15, so it won't be as hot, but Texas mornings are pretty hot no matter what time it is. So make sure you keep them hydrated and give water breaks as needed. At all of these locations, except for the Prosper location, we do have trees and shade covering. Unfortunately, the Prosper location is pretty much in the open. But as far as the other area, if the child shows symptoms of sickness while at the field, we'll follow these steps. Immediately remove the child from the group, be placed at a safe distance away from the field. We'll stop back all activities and clean equipment and areas as needed. This includes hand washing for all the staff and kids. Parents will be informed of the situation, whether it's heat exhaustion or whatever the case might be. That way they're informed of what's going on. They have the option to make a decision of whether they want to continue or not. Families of a sick child will then be contacted if, most likely they'll be there, but we do this for our clinics and camps as well, when sometimes they get dropped off for longer sessions. And then please do inform your staff if they have if your child has any allergies, health concerns, behavioral issues, or need any kind of mediation. We do have kids that participate in our programs that are ADHD or on the spectrum for different things. So if that's your child, let us know, make us aware of it. All kids are included no matter what situation they have. We want to make sure that they have an opportunity to have a great sports experience and be around and have fun with their kids. But if our parents and staff and coaches know about it, it just helps us to be better prepared. So if you guys have any questions, I know I went through that kind of quickly. I've sent this out to you guys before, but if you guys have any questions on that or anything else, feel free to reach out to me. As far as our staff and our coaches, all staff and coaches are background checked, trained, and certified. We've used a new company called Sterling Volunteers. This is the most thorough background check company in the U.S. Every single background check company does an annual review. This company for us will do monthly reviews. So we'll make sure that every person that's on there, whether it's staff or a coach, is monthly given updates as far as making sure that they're still safe to be around our kids. That was just an added extra safety measure for all of our parents to know that our coaches and our staff are background check certified and they're safe to be around. We do have CPR, first aid certified staff on site if that's needed, and all staff will wash hands and clean equipment before and after each session, has extra protocol as well as wearing their masks too. So, that is our safety protocols for the league. On a final note here, we do have a few spots open, so if you do have a friend that you want to recommend, we do have some spots open. We can get a $10 credit for that. Please make sure you follow us on social media. Tag us on any posts that you guys put out there. We'd love to see pictures of the kids with their medals or getting hitting the ball or playing catch or whatever the case might be. We love seeing stuff like that and being able to share with other parents. We want to shout out our sponsors and business partners, including Scottish Rite, who joined us today, Richwoods Academy, which we do our summer camps with, and then of course, the Frisco Chamber of Commerce, which we are members of. So what I want to do is kind of wrap up is, I'm going to go ahead and stop. Oops. Yes, let me save that. I'm going to stop the presentation so that way I am back on the screen. So if anyone has any questions, we have about 7-8 minutes. If anyone has any questions, feel free to chat it in or unmute yourself. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions. Other than that, if there are no questions, there are no chatting in questions, then we are done. So again, on game day, we'll have everything that you guys need to get there. So just head straight to the check-in table. We'll let you know where the field's at. We'll direct you to your team. If possible, have the kids go to their team. You can hang out on the sidelines and watch the kids get ready, get their uniforms on and all that kind of stuff. If possible, again, we want to have the kids have all the equipment with them. Their bats, their bottles, their water bottles, their gloves, have it all with the team. That way they're not going back and forth, especially with this age group. If a 3-year-old goes back with mom, it's a lot harder for them to get back on the field. So if they have everything together with the team, with the group, it allows them to, stay with the group and stay there the entire time. So hopefully they have a great experience. We are going to see a lot of different age levels and skill levels and experience levels out there. So don't be discouraged if your kid is on one end or the other. We're going to have some kids who are going to cry the first 3 weeks of the season and finally get on the field and play. We're going to have some kids that just get on the field and play the entire time, and they can really start seeing some growth in their skill development. My son took about 3 weeks before he didn't cry on the field to get out there and play and enjoy himself and had a good time. But if that happens, don't feel bad about it. Let's let them get comfortable with it, have fun with it, get out there when they're ready. And if it takes them a couple of weeks to get out there with them, if you need to be there with them the entire time, that's okay. But we want to make sure that we give our kids a good, fun sports experience. So we ask that you guys help us out on that. So again, if there's no other questions, I am done. We appreciate you guys joining us this season, and we'll see you guys on the field on Sunday. Thank you.